All right, here we go. Don't be a libtard. So again, if you were to study what the trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars that were put out for the Green New World did for the environment, you will find that the environment is worse off today than it was the day they started with the Green Deal. So, what the media and the libtards are doing is telling their people how corrupt Trump is. All of that Green New Deal failed, but did one thing: made liberals the wealthiest they've ever been in the history of the world. And they're not liberals. This is the point. Study what a liberal is. Study what and again, they're not socialists. I guess sociocrat would be a way to say it. Well, it's crony socialism. They're not socialists and they're not liberals. It's actually something that we should have defined sooner, although you could say it's a banana republic kleptocrat or kleptocrats. Again, they want money to feed you, but when you give them $1 trillion, you're only going to get a few million in the program. Right? It trickles down, believe me, and not to you, to them. They never managed the contracts. Solyndra got busted because they went bankrupt. All you have to do is not go bankrupt, and you'd never know that they never met the contracts. Remember, the dollar amount that you get, which is being defrauded also, because Minnesota obviously let, whether they're prosecuted or not as a state, Minnesota and Minneapolis, the mayor and the governor and their people obviously allowed the fraud and knew about it. Because the right people were paid. So again, if they were true liberals or true socialists, there'd be a lot less ammunition to use against their attempts to take over the House and the Senate in November. They just lie until the day it happens. And if it happens, great. If it doesn't, because they get rich doing it. They get a lot of money when they lie. And so Drudge Report is great to find the lie, because 90% of the Drudge Report is just propaganda bullshit. Right. Now, how they got Drudge, I don't know. Right. Deep state. I mean, Drudge used to be the anti-deep state guy. It was Free Republic, and then Drudge came on. Right. That's pretty much how Drudge made his name off of the whole Free Republic movement. It was after the what was it called? Not the freshman. It was something before the freshman or whatever it is. Yeah. So I forget what they were called. It was that guy, that tall guy. What was that tall guy's name? I can't even remember his name anymore. But the Republican House that took over somewhere in the 90s. Then Drudge came along and reported on things important to that group of people, which would also be Free Republic and some other things. Right. And now he's freaking deep state Democrat. But it's great to go there and you can see that's why I have all the leaning towards Trump hate stuff, and I just credit it because that's where I'm getting it from. Right. So I suspect the thing in Germany, where if you're a man or a male that's military conscription age or military service age, I don't even think it's conscription. If you want to leave the country, you have to get permission from the government for more than 3 months, of course. But I think what it is, well, they're telling you can't leave. If you want to go, because it's so shitty in Germany, again, it's a Hochul thing. Hochul is now trying to browbeat people to come back to New York. And I'm wondering if somebody's moving spycraft around it, because it sounds like she's threatening. veiled threats. Now, maybe she's just trying to freak them out. Look, we're going to take power and we'll come get you. Right. So, in essence, these young men are like, I'm out of here. I don't want to stand at a bus stop and get stabbed by some psychotic person that shouldn't even be in our country. Right. Like, I'm out of here. I'm going to go live somewhere else, live a safe life. Maybe go to Hungary. See, that's the point. They're probably bailing for Hungary. You're not allowed. Essentially, they're saying, it's military related, but I doubt it. It's like Hochul. She wants the money back. She wants you to come back and support her programs. And, it was a real program as a socialist. Yeah, they're not Democrats, man. They're not even really socialists. They're kleptocrats. I mean, they straight up make a program and take the money. Tell you you're just a dirty piece of shit until you give them the money to save all the people. And then what do? We don't have enough money. We need more. Well, you stole all the money. So she's wanting people to bring money back. So again, same thing in Germany. They're losing all their money. They say, okay, let the immigrants make your money. Bye. You know what those immigrants have cost that country? Oh my God. Incarceration, social benefits. They tried to do the same thing here. And now they're screaming, unfair! You're defeating Iran! It's unfair! I'll tell you though, it's not a reason to celebrate, but a lot of the truth is coming out. The question is whether the American public will act on it. I think the news is like when they said that Harris was going to win. It's just lies, because people send them money. They when they have hope, they send them money. And again, they might turn out a little bit more in elections. Well, you can only be so mad at Trump. That's why they make it about Trump. They have nothing else. They don't have anything positive. Oh, but we're going to feed people. It's bullshit. How can you stand there and tell people you're going to feed them when you steal the money? How can you do that? No shame. You may have gotten your benefit. This is what came up to me over the last few years. And I just kind of, I don't like to be greedy like that, so I just kind of leave it there. I say a little bit lightly, but they said, and again, it's come up in the news, but it's disappeared. How much money could you have made on SNAP and whatever the other monies are that you receive, disability, public, whatever the public benefit is? How much could you receive that the Benecrats? Yeah, Benedict Arnold, the Benecrats. Didn't steal your money. You're saying I only get a couple $100 of food, cost me $300. I wish I had $300. You could have had $300 in a second if the Democrats didn't steal it. It was there. It was given to you. They stole it. Don't they have any shame? And it said to me, he said, you should be making more money with what's going on in your life. You can't get ahead because of your disability and because of what they're doing to you. And the government's allowing them to do it. And in some cases, it is the government. And the question is there a government person causing you not to succeed in life so you don't need the government benefit? I would say yes in a lot of cases. They're sickos. That's how they get money. It goes to Satan, but if you're not religious, yeah, there are physical people that pay them and promote them to be the negative in our country. So they can say, if you want positive, put me in. Meanwhile, they're running a deep state, making everybody poorer than they need to be. I think I just hit on something. The Democrats project, which means they say the opposite of the truth. They tell you you're what they are, or the Republicans are what they are. What if it's probably them? Because the deep state gets paid to make you poor. Some of it defies any explanation except Satan. So the poor getting poorer, you know what that is? It's the Democrats and their deep state stealing your money. If we knew that we could balance a budget and pay people an extra $100 a month on SNAP, we'd do it. Right. Well, what about this war? They cost us. They bleed us. Also, you're getting poor because Iranian regime people and who they select are getting richer. That's part of it. It's not only them. Russians do the same thing. Chinese do the same thing. There are people in your community today. How did that person get that kind of life? They do what the Chinese want them to do, and they don't have to talk to them. They send them little messages, coded messages. It just, believe me, it can be done. Most of communication is a connection between two people. When I talk to you, when you talk to me, we're connecting. So an experiment you can engage in is find somebody that doesn't speak English, or find people that don't speak English if you speak English. Try to communicate with them. And then find people that speak English. You'll find you can communicate easier and quicker with some people that don't speak English than people that speak English, because you can connect to them. You can't connect to the other person. I've done all this. Hashem told me about it. God told me about it. Hashem is God. And then I, looked at life through Hashem's eyes. And I saw that. You got people speaking English. You're like, what? What? You got somebody's Chinese. Oh, down there, down the street. So they have ill will. Well, because above all, they want you to pay them money and need them. So you can't come up out of where you are. Because if you don't need them, then they can't steal your money. And then we can go to the immigrants. Oh my God, how much money they gave them. But it makes it a better world. Bullshit. It's not even better in their countries. Because when we pay whatever it was, $15,000 a year, $20,000 a year, $30,000 a year per immigrant, up here, we could have supported 50 immigrants per each immigrant up here and made their nation a better nation. Actually, in importing all the immigrants with their change-out theory, with changing out the U.S. citizen, in actuality, because of the census and how the census works, immigrants are are now represented more than you because there's a larger number, a denser population in California California has too many House members. Too many. They're representing foreign nationals. Now, Texas has that a little bit too. You see? The benefits of foreign nationals, you get an extra congressperson. Just flood your state with foreign nationals. They do the census, you get an extra Congress, extra 1 or 2 or 3 Congress people. And they represent a foreign nation instead of us. This isn't nationalism, it's reality. Hate to use French, but wake the fuck up. You ripped us the fuck off. You don't start that shit, then I'm anti-immigrant, anti-foreigner, racist, a white supremacist. You're more of a white supremacist than I am, Democrat. Hochul ain't living where I've lived. Don't let her tell you she'd live around you. She wants the programs to steal the money. Not to feed you and house you. It's so scary. So what do they do next after we find they stole the child care money? They enact child care programs everywhere. Could you just do something else or call it something else? All standing there smiling, child care money. My wife, they addicted her, they destroyed her on purpose. The deep state did. Addicted her to prescription drugs. That's how she was. By the time I left. Nothing else I could do. I tried to stay, I couldn't. Your average libtard. Yeah. Give me some cannabis. Now, shortly after I left, she did start trying to control the prescription drugs. But what happened was her life picked up. And I blessed her. I'm not, why won't my wife have a bad life? Why ex-wife? Just because it didn't work? Bullshit. Right. I mean, she was abusive, but oh yeah, I want her to be abused. No. Because I guarantee if I wanted it, it would have happened. Right. Now, she didn't have the same thought process going through it. So when her life picked up, she got kind of nasty. And then I still tried to salvage it, and she bucked it. But it was deep state. They were supporting her at that point. In other words, they'll support the other side until it's over. And then they walk off, and then she had a shitty life. Right. Of course, they blame me. I tried contacting one of the churches I had been in that area. I don't remember where I was, maybe Santa Fe. They erased my posts off of Facebook. That's how dirty they are. That's a spycraft activity. I don't care what they say. That's espionage when you're in the government. They do that to you. I wasn't in government at the time. So like I said, when I was in the government, what do you think happened? There was a group of people in Arizona that were caught investigating, quote unquote, a coworker. Same deep state scam. Same thing they do out here. We're investigating. And then I knew it was the same scam they were trying to use on me. Again, I was so far down, I couldn't get anywhere. But again, I had other deputies on assignment telling me what was going on around the market. It was a scam. But you find generally what I believe they did is they found former deputies who had retired and were PIs or something like that, or offered them a PI position, and then sent them around the United States to kill government employees they wanted killed. Who did that? The Russians, the Chinese, the narcos. You had white Mr. Deputy, white Mr. FBI. Well, that's racist. No, you Democrats are part of it. People of color are part of it. That's the scam. They send what they think will manipulate you. Could be 10 black people funding a white person because you're white. Vice versa. There'll be 10 white people funding a black PI. Arabs purchase PIs all the time. Former federal agents, former CIA. When I was in government, you could be a civilian, but be part of the deep state. And then we didn't call it that. This is why they wanted to kill me. I realized it all because they tried to kill me with it, and I saw it. Of course, over the years, I realized it more. You could be a member of a civilian world and have more power in government than a duly authorized law enforcement officer. And see, ICE is coming up against that. Now, it's a little bit more on the ball now. You can get rid of people where before you couldn't. Like there's people that greet Mullen. Oh, Mr. Mullen, we're glad you're here. Kristi Noem was horrible. You know what? You know what they said to Kristi Noem? Oh, Kristi Noem, we're so glad you're here. That guy that was here before you was horrible. And when they get rid of you, Mullen, they'll be, oh, I'm glad you're here. Mullen was horrible. Beware the people that meet and greet you when you take a position in an agency. They're setting up their next big win and your next failure, regardless who you are. That's one good thing about being in the military first, in a good military unit. You get, tease heads, don't have time for them. So when I was in the military, the draft dodger mindset was still there, and that was Reagan years, still there. People would enlist in the Army, and they'd act like a draft dodger, or somebody didn't want to be drafted. I never got that. But you know what? Our worst people were still good if you knew how to manage them. They could do their job. Whereas I don't know if the draft dodgers got wasted or the anti-draft people got wasted when in the military. Law. And people got used drugs, and that's why Reagan tried to institute a program because I didn't know this, but the 82nd supposedly smoked more marijuana than everybody else, or cannabis. People used to tell me about it all the time. I guess because God wanted me to know about it. They use a quarter ounce. So when they deploy, there's a quarter ounce that goes with them. I don't know. I don't think it happens anymore. Now we live in a cannabis world. Remember that Reefer Madness movie? I swear it's true. They're all insane. They used to try to scare people away from marijuana. So people just real scary, This is what happens when you use marijuana. So again, it's not a good thing. what's going on in this nation. It's just people could have had more money. They still made themselves rich, and they're driving around in big cars, acting like they're the genius entrepreneurs. Oh my God, Minnesota! How did you get so many Samoan geniuses? All right, it's not only that. Latinos were notorious for receiving government benefits and working under the table for decades upon decades. I'm sure it's worse now than it's ever been. Or except not now, but when Biden was in. Right. That's why I say I know there's Latino people that spoke Spanish, act like they didn't speak much English, went in there when I need money. Right. And they went out for it. It's funded a party for the weekend with NGO monies. Right. I'm just fresh in from Tijuana. I need money. Well, they have a contract. They give you $1,000. They probably get $500 for managing the $1,000. Yeah, I was part of the program, but not part of the corruption. I tell you that every time. Don't say I said something and then be corrupt about it, or inefficient about it, or an idiot about it, and not know how to be tactically and technically correct. Then tell me it's what I said. Just like the surge. I told you to surge, but you had to go into Afghanistan or into Pakistan at a minimum, and probably with knowledge you had, I ran. I only have so much information out here. Nobody shares information really with me. Again, I get blips, but psychic blips. Right. There's no doubt that I told you to be careful about the importation of labor. But I just said we do need to import labor. But that was 2021. I said, make sure everybody works. If a person is disabled or elderly and they need to be here for some legitimate amnesty, then fine. But again, the term is legitimate. Because I know that I, with my mind, moved programs into Mexico to take care of people years ago. So I know we can do that. I don't know how Jared and Ivanka figured it out, whether they heard me or just got the blip. And there are others. So when you're bringing them up here and spending all that money here, guess what happens? You don't have the money to give them alternatives to the narcosphere. But again, we can't combat that when the government, again, there's certain investment in Mexico that's just waiting. There's money for Mexico, and I know for a fact the inside is, as soon as you secure your nation, just like El Salvador, as soon as they secured the nation, Google went in. So what do they have? News articles about how unfair it is in El Salvador. But you're not going to help him, right? Figure it out, right? You're just going to say that. You want it completely reversed, is what you all want. Well, because the MS-13 money was good, right? Their big bosses were paying you off. Oh, no, they were just so ruthless. The biggest waste of money in the 4 years of Biden. Never got anywhere with all that investment because it was bullshit. Look, the money that's being lost, most of it is narco money. The narco economy eats itself. That's why the poor get poorer and the rich get richer. We get rid of the narco economy, there's going to be a drop, but we weren't enjoying the narco economy. It was the foreign nationals and everybody and their cronies they were paying. And then, of course, all those rehab programs. I wonder what the rehab scam is. I guarantee it's a scam. Right. Just like the child care and all the other crap and the hospice. I knew it was a scam to the point that they don't give a shit whether you get well because they want you back a second time so you get the second installment of federal funding. Right. Yeah, the part is I didn't know it was worse than I was saying. It was worse than I was saying all those years. And that term open secrets. So we do need to get rid of Iran. We do need to get rid of narcotics. And then the bottom part of our nation should come up. I don't know how long it's going to take. You have to look at it, again, you can look at it spiritually, but also physically. They're the reason you're having trouble. You get rid of these special interest groups like Iran, the narcos, then we should get somewhere. That's who the Democrats have special interest groups and dark money. Narcos, Iran, the Sharia law jihadists going to take over everything because they just ooze money. They can come into our country and all of a sudden they're entrepreneurs and multimillionaires. They're amazing. There's people like Pritzker that made their money off of narcotics and fraud. I guarantee it. And then they invested their money and, it looks like it's an investment money, but it's not. And it goes back past statute of limitations. Right. Yeah, it's probably a cocaine cowboy and a cannabis importer before it was legal. They invested his money and go, I'm an entrepreneur, great poop on, when it's actually great poop on you. Right. That's another one from Hashem, great poop on. When I say great poop is the worst poop. Great Poupon is a mustard. And they do like their commercials. I don't know if they're even around anymore. They used to have television commercials for like, it'd be some just average Joe and they'd be acting all snooty with their Grey Poupon mustard. Putting on airs because they use Grey Poupon. But Hashem's like, great, look at that word, Grey Poop on. Grey poop on you. So again, they're now going to try to muscle people. So they're most dangerous now. They're hiring PIs that are corrupt, contacting their corrupt police officers to force people and stalk them and harass them into voting for a Democrat come November. Republicans do it too, but again, I believe that it's the Democrats mostly engaged in it right now. And don't believe any of those polls. I mean, it could be true, but again, they told you Harris was going to win. Remember that? So we have a cold weather day here compared to where we've been. Maybe a couple days here of cold weather. Probably the last of it. Probably be safe to plant your grass seed in a little bit, by another week or so. But it's just like it just got. Couldn't you just pick something else besides childcare? I don't know. Maybe they are in on the fraud. I don't know. New York's all sitting up there. We're going to fund childcare. Wait a minute. Isn't that what they did in Minnesota a few years back? I mean, are they actually that bold? Are they actually looking for people to do that? I mean, you want to think that they're trying to take care of people, but that's what we thought 5-10 years ago. Is that a signal? Hey, child care money. just be smarter about it. And Hochul's people will look the other way. I don't know. I don't know Zoran for anybody. All I know is he helps homeless or says he wants to help homeless people. As long as he does that, fine. I'll help him with that stuff. But he could be, his whole goal could be put the mosque at the pinnacle of New York City, and maybe even New York. Which means what? Maybe he'll blackmail, put some people out there to blackmail Hochul. I don't know. And to accept Islam as the state religion. I mean, it's not crazy. Look at Minnesota. Narcos running the whole fucking state. When in reality, it's only Minneapolis is their base. Right. Theoretically, the rest of the state's pretty normal, but maybe not. Maybe they make their money off of transporting narcotics into Minneapolis. What do we care? We live out here. Just sell it in Minneapolis. Police chief's in, we give him money. Mayor's in, we give him money. So again, they're not helping anyone. When you bring all those people up here for useless time, just hanging out and making government benefits and selling drugs, it ruins everything, including the ability to help the people in Central America and South America. Burned all that money. I mean, like I said, for what you can support one person up here with, down there you can support multiple people. We did the microloan program. They start businesses, taco stands and things like that. But again, the narcos are ruining everything. Oh, but we're wealthier. You're actually poorer than you would have been had you kept up with the legitimate businesses that were being put into your nation in the late 90s and the early part of this millennium. You just got that fantasy in your head that the easy narco money was the way to go. But your standard of living in large swaths of your country is still subpar. Because when it became time to industrialize, you narcoticized. Easy money for you. There were a lot of major investment in Mexico, and those narcos screwed it up. So don't try to change history the way the Dems do. Maybe cute clue. Mexico was on its way up when the narcos took over. It was beginning to industrialize. It was an industrial revolution in Mexico. Who wants to invest money in a place where you walk outside your business to go to dinner and you get shot up? Who wants? Oh, it's safer now. Yeah, bullshit. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.